We've just seen the fast graphics competition. As you've probably just heard, we had a little technical difficulties there. We're going to start again. So for the fast graphics compostudio, I have two friends with me. First of all, I have Setok, who has been a presenter on AssemblyTV for quite a while. And we also have Truck here, who has been a guest for, well, equally long. I think you've both had good tenures on our TV screens. So the fast graphics competition, there were 14-15 entries there. Setok, if I come to you first, general thoughts about the competition? Anything to say?
No, I think it's a tough competition. I mean, you could take the shortcut and take a ready image and then just brush it over, as we saw with a couple of entries. But to do something outstanding, it is a tough show to do. You have very little resources and little time to do it. So we can have a look at that and offer our opinions.
Okay, very good. And Truck, when we look at fast graphics, we're typically looking at something that somebody generally does with Photoshop or something like that. It's going to be on a tablet or something. Yeah. What do you kind of think about that method? Is it versus the executable stuff we normally see?
Well, the challenge of using a palette that is not necessarily, say, an 8-bit palette or a 16-bit palette where you have to choose your colors and then make something with the limited palette that still looks good, plus the time frame. It might be said that Photoshop gives the artist a little too much leeway in doing this, so it's difficult to actually see or say which ones are really good or which ones aren't once you get past the, oh, well, that looks blurry, or, oh, I like that, or, oh, I don't. Exactly.
Especially when we were looking at maybe 15, 20 years ago when people were coding on, painting in Dulux Paint or something on the Amiga. Yes. It was a very different result that you got. You tended to, like you say, 8-bit palette or Ham8 or something.
Or for example, the Spectrum palette.
The garish palette as well.
Yeah, when you see a picture that uses that palette and you don't notice that it's in that palette, what you see is a spectacular picture, then you know that you've got something. The same thing with, say, the Amstrad palette, which is a little less garish. And once you understand how they got those colors, then the person can use them. Or even your teletext. Teletext is 8 colors, yes?
I'm not familiar with the teletext. I know the Amstrad and Spectrum.
No, I mean teletext.
It's seven.
You mean the
yes.
7 colours plus black plus 7 blinking colours.
Yes. Yeah. So those types.
That's pretty much specky colours.
Yeah. Those types of things. When you have something like that, it's perhaps easier to judge. That isn't to say that there isn't something about having the Wacom tablet and being able to draw something very, very quickly. But again, there's really 2 schools there. The older method, which you really had to have good talent for, and the new school, which is more of a, I can put something up there and I have an idea, let's just get it out there.
Plus it's a nice introduction to the demo scene if you can, if you are an artist and you want to come through. Now I'm going to cut you off for a second. We are now ready to have a look through some of the entries that were there.
Yes.
So the first entry which we have is called Scene Phone. Obviously, it's been done in a 3D renderer. I believe it said it was Blender.
Yes.
Blender 3D. Yeah, Silo and Blender. Thoughts about this first image? I mean, we've obviously got the Amiga ball there.
Yeah, it's easy to comment on this. I mean, I don't think this is very representative of the scene. It's very pro-Amiga, and we can debate that, of course, as an old Atari demo scene. But it's interesting, I find, that even today, I mean, it's what, 20 years? More than it's 25 years since the Amiga.
Yes.
And we're still seeing images of the Amiga ball. I mean, it's nice. It pleases the demo sceners. I don't think there's like huge artistic kind of value, but I think it's nice to see this kind of demo scene thing kind of continue.
The thing with the Amiga is, in the past couple of years, shouting Amiga has become a demo scene meme. So. Of course, that followed up by Atari and
I always reply
Amstrad,
Atari.
and we even occasionally hear somebody scream out "wang." So.
I'm going to skip along to the next one now. We are going to skip a few out in the middle due to time constraints, but this one called Splat, it's obviously being done once again in a 3D render, and it's got some nice objects in it, but once again, I think it might be something that somebody's just grabbed something out of some library or something and put together. It's an interesting image. I wouldn't say it was one of my favourites, but.
It's actually very difficult to judge. I mean, the amount of like ready library stuff that people might be using versus. I mean, that's a good thing about like if the compo was just based on Wacom tablet, because then it really is the skill of the painter versus just putting it on images. But I like the general aesthetic on this image.
Sure. There is next up permanent delivery delay. I think this is the one that we said it was a bit like. Red Riding Hood, wasn't it?
Yes, so, that is Red Riding Hood in the background.
So it is, yeah. Okay.
Bloody Red Riding Hood.
Yes.
So we're going to skip across a few now because I wasn't a big fan of extreme interpolation. I think people will understand that. It's nicely drawn, but it didn't do anything for me, unless somebody wants to interject on that.
Well, yeah, it's really CSI technology, isn't it? Like blurry image, and let's get it.
That's just the joke.
Yeah.
Yep.
So we're just going to skip over a couple. We get to this one, Suction, now. Yeah. I happen to really like this one. Suction, I believe, is number 7. What do... I mean, the effect, I can understand how it was done, or whether it was whatever. It is something that I wouldn't mind seeing again. I'm not sure whether it's a favourite image of mine in the competition, but I quite like it. Is that controversial, or?
Well, opinions are never controversial. I mean, we all have them.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, for me, it wasn't a personal favourite of my own. Just as you know, again, the general aesthetic. But I like things which have that certain element of you know, noise or a distortion, which this is still lacking. But you know, I can see the appeal, especially like somebody firing Angry Birds through the monitor, right?
For me, it was kind of almost like the screen had been distorted into a portal that was pulling you in, type of thing.
Yeah.
And it was. Now that I see it up close, I can actually see the lead of the tablet going into the screen. I didn't see that at the time, but I like. You know what I mean when I say the kind of debris, Farbrash 47 or what it was, that kind of blocky style. I've always liked that, especially when you look at electron microscope images of salt crystals and whatever. That's the kind of art I really like.
Which is, by the way, something that Matthew does as a hobby, like daily, right?
Yes, absolutely. I have 15 electron microscopes at home. Yeah.
Now, one thing about this is that I would like to see this picture turned into a scene in a demo. Whether it was that this was then changed to actually having that effect on the screen, or whether that effect on the screen was then brought into this. It would be a good segue into another section. So I like this from a perspective of giving ideas of something to put into a demo.
Okay, well, we might see next year they might have one additional point from a certain Sir garbage truck then.
Yes,
Yeah.
if this, well, we might also see this picture, but this is fast graphics, right?
Correct, yeah.
Yeah, okay, so we probably won't see this in a demo.
Not this year.
Yeah.
No. We might see it at a different party, but like I say, I quite like this image, so we'll just move on from that. Modern Day Princess. Now, the reason why I'm stopping on this one and skipped over others is because this is the first one that got a cheer. I wonder why. It's very party friendly.
There's a naked lady in it, albeit not maybe the standard naked lady that you usually see. But maybe tastes have changed with the audience in recent years, and they like their women with more body.
And the zombie bear as well.
Well, that does.
I think it's because he's puking rainbows.
Puking rainbows. Yeah, it's only a shame he doesn't have a horn in his head as well. So. Okay, Exhausted, number 8. Once again, similar theory. We always get something like this in every competition.
I want to comment on this. There's an interesting theme going on with what was there actually a theme?
There was, and it was something like just in time or something. It wasn't just in time because nothing fits this.
Yeah.
But I did look up the
yeah.
cover,
Okay. So because I actually missed the theme part, but something that I've seen recurring quite a bit here is suckage. I mean, all these images suck. You know, in a quite literal sense, there is something that is sucking stuff in. So I don't know. Maybe that was part of the theme.
Perhaps somebody in the back can try and find me out what the theme was.
Yeah.
I do have it on here somewhere, but we'll skip that for the moment. I am not on drugs. Ooh, crikey! Without trying to break our screen, does not like it. There we go. Reminds me very much of something a few years ago. I can't remember what it was, but it was similar to the self-portrait of Vincent van Gogh, or whatever you want to call it in Dutch. It's obviously been done at the party. I actually quite like it. It's been done in some kind of tablet, I imagine, but only now that I see it later do I realise there was a girl in the crystal.
Yeah.
So
that actually was the thing that I noticed with the up close. Oh, there's a girl in the crystal. And I wonder if that's supposed to be that there's actually not, but he sees it because he's not on drugs.
that requires a lot of thoughts that you don't really get in a normal 15-second viewing of each image.
That's true.
Yeah, and she's even giving us the finger, or giving him the finger. Yeah, I didn't notice
No,
her.
I thought it was, aha.
I think she looks angry. I think she's giving us the finger.
Oh, okay.
But that's my interpretation.
This is what I've always wondered about the graphics compos. At Icons this year, they printed a number of the pictures on the staircase as you went out of the place, and it was quite nice to see the pictures up close and personal and take your time over them. Too often with the graphics competitions, you see them for 15 seconds and don't bother looking again. So perhaps that's something we might want to consider for a future assembly. Who knows? Okay, the next one, a mouse in the sunset. A moose in the sunset. A moose about the hoose. Now, you guys seem to be having a good old chat about this a little bit earlier.
Well, we were wondering where the moose was, and I think I found the moose.
Go for it. Where is the moose?
Well, I think the moose is just slightly to the right of center. I could point to it, but it's there, but that doesn't help the viewer at home.
That one?
No, the one next to it, right there. See? Right there. Here.
No.
Okay, here. There. I think that's
Yes,
the
that's
moose.
what I thought the moose was.
Oh, I thought you were pointing to here.
No. I think that's the moose. So, yeah.
I think you guys are wrong. I think that's a hedge.
That's a hedge.
And the moose is right up front. You can just see the antlers pointing out, but nothing
Here.
else. Yeah, so it's just the antlers.
So, once again, if anybody has been watching Assembly TV in the past few years and they've seen me, things that I immediately tend to like are sunsets. I really like sunset colours. There was ASD demo, not Happiness Was Around the Bend. What's the one with the Herbie car? Life Force. And that had a scene with a swinging clock tower bell. Anything with the sunset colours, I will vote for immediately. So that's certainly got my my vote. Plus, it's very nice with the whole foreground background type thing. Almost looks like it was pulled out of Z-Wolf or something.
And yet you haven't been in Lapland in the summer.
I haven't been in Lapland full stop.
Well, we should do that now.
I think we just sourced out my next year's arrangements.
Bring mosquito repellent.
Really? Okay. Okay, next up, we have Eye for Detail, number 11. An interesting image. Not too much to say about it.
You don't think that he's examining some crystals under a microscope?
I've no idea. I've no idea. I just look at that and go, that could well be, what did we call it last year? Saptolina. That could be somebody a bit out of their head doing strange things with some kind of big video wall. I mean, you know when you go to Breakpoint and you see the gigantic 40-metre square screen and you go up to it and each pixel is the size of your thumbnail.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bit strange.
Well, it's like a science fiction version of Gollum on drugs, right?
Yeah. It just seemed to be a theme.
Why
Just
does
to
he
be
have to
this
be
big
on
blind
drugs?
guy.
Just because there's purple in the picture?
Well, I don't know. He's
or
probably
things?
still looking for the ring somewhere.
Could be.
It could just be.
There's only a big one right there, and some
Yeah.
other ones.
Could just be French as well. Who knows? So next up, realism isn't always superior. If the image loads, are we going? There we go. Now I thought that was SpongeBob SquarePants first time I saw it, and it's not. It must be a popular reference I don't get. Krusty Burger is from Simpsons. Anybody get the reference?
How do you know that it's not SpongeBob SquarePants?
He has a neck. It kind of looks a bit hulky. I don't know. Maybe it's a dig at Hesburger or something. I don't know.
All right. I think it looks a little bit like SpongeBob SquarePants.
Fair enough. Not a big one for me. We're going to the last couple of entries now. Too much thinking. Now, this entry.
Looks much better on that screen than this one.
Yeah. When I saw it on the big screen, I thought it had red dots in it. And then I come in here and I can't see any red at all. Perhaps my vision is screwed up. But I think it looks better either in very high detail or
Yes.
very poor detail. But when you look at it on a screen like this, which is your average laptop, you don't appreciate the full majesty of it. I don't know what you want to
No,
do.
that looks far better here and there than on this. I mean, this just looks like washed out. Bleh. There it looks sharp and good, and here it just looks incredible.
I think this is fantastic. I think this is my favorite from the bunch.
Yeah, I have to say that I'm very impressed with this.
Yeah.
The minimalism that you see is almost kind of reminiscent of like Mad Men or something.
Yeah, it's the only one that I could see having on my wall.
I would certainly agree with that, and the way it's been placed as well. Somebody hasn't
Yeah.
done the typical thing of putting it front and centre. They've taken care with its positioning,
Yeah.
and it looks nice.
The gold. Well, what's it in English? Golden finishes. Golden lake goes. There's a certain point where you should place it.
Oh,
I
the
see.
golden ratio.
Yeah.
Oh right, yes, yeah, 1 to 1.6 or whatever it is. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I think this is great.
Okay. So we're coming on to one of the final entries, which is WTF moment, which we'll have to actually bring up. Now, this obviously got a big cheer from the crowd. It, if I remember correctly, was a photo that had been drawn on and then finally manipulated in Photoshop. It's obvious which bit's are which, but what really freaks me out is not what's in the foreground, it's the guy's eyes in the background. And they are bug eyes to me, but they just seem much too close together. It almost looks like they've been enhanced sometimes.
But you see what they're maybe getting at
Yeah.
without the artist actually realizing
Yeah.
this, is that there is not much difference between the two characters. So they're both bug-eyed monsters basically,
Absolutely.
just with a different perspective on things.
One's got a degree in art, and that's probably the one on the bottom. Yeah, very good. So, as we come out to it, we do have one final one, Colossal Detail. Now, you saw Colossal Detail, the name, and I thought it was going to be one of these really intricate, finely detailed pictures, and then we go on to it, and I couldn't see the detail. Maybe my eyes are too fuzzy. We're on number 15 now. Hopefully we can get it on the screen. But just to look at that, I see more detail on here now, but maybe it is an artifact of the big screen. There was an article, whenever you used to download Partymeister, there was a document that came in it from Kebby, from Fardrash, about what you can see on the big screen and what you can't. That yellows wash out, don't use light colours, try and mix it up. I couldn't see any of that detail on the big screen. It was really hard to see.
Again, I think this is fantastic. I mean, the whole kind of sort of slightly industrial sort of vibe to it is something that really, really appeals to me. And it has the elements of distortion, which I think, and organism that I think any good art needs to have. So within the limitations of this competition, I think it's fantastic.
But I think, like you said, you didn't see this on the big screen. You saw blur, and this is not blurry up close. I mean, right in here, there's a tremendous amount of detail on the big screen, all of that was, there's a thing on the screen. I could have taken my glasses off and it would have been the same thing, and I can't see anything without my glasses off. But look at this, look at the big screen, pretty much the same thing. Put these on, detail all over the place. It's just, it's suffering because of the choice of color. And it's unfortunate, but that's the way that it is.
The white one we saw a couple slides back that we were just saying that's about, that suffered much the same. However, this one I think does it to a certain extent because it is a very nice picture. It is intricately detailed, but it just loses it in the blandness of the projector. And we spend a lot on our projector, so if we were doing it not particularly well, we'll see that. So I think that's pretty much it. We're going to skip over Kitty Cat because that's what it is. I think we're going to wind up. The one final one I'll say is number 18, which is about the duck. I think we've only got about 20-30 seconds left. So the duck, did you want to say anything about that?
Yeah, they seem to be popular. People were applauding it. I think it's kind of lame. It's kind of like a photo which is just brushed over. It doesn't do anything for me.
I must admit, I only thought there were 14 entries. I thought we were coming up to a nice time. Unfortunately, we've run out of time. Thank you very much for coming. I really appreciate you guys coming. We're going to be going on to the dance music competition in a little while. I think it's about 5-10 minutes away. Apart from that, I've been Matthew Bolster. You've been watching Assembly TV 2012. We'll see you after the next competition.